What's the deal, y'all? This is Isaiah Fowler coming to you with another episode on the Starts With a Vision podcast, man. This is episode 53 right here, and we got some good stuff for you. Of course, I got a really good episode for you I wanted to talk about. And this episode, it is stemmed from me being able to see what's the differences between somebody making, let's say, $100,000 a year and somebody making $1 million a year in their business. What is the mindset differences? Because we are in a time where a lot of people want to make money, but they're not fully understanding what it is going to take mentally in order to get it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Because it's easy. I want you to really understand this. It's easy to make money, but it's hard to sustain something. I want to pose a question to you first. Do you want to be that entrepreneur, that brand that makes a whole bunch of money in 2021 and 2022 for 1 year, and then the years after you don't know what's going on, right? That's not the goal here. The goal is to make money in your business and 2 to 3x that the next year, or 5x or 10x. And then the next year you 2 to 3x that. And also understanding that the more your revenue grows, the harder it's going to be to 2 to 3x depending on where your revenue is at. It's easy to 3x your business when you're making 30K a year. That's only 90K, right? But it's a lot tougher to 3x your business if you're doing $8 million a year, right? That's 8 to 24 mil, right? So it's a lot harder to 3x the higher you go. It gets more challenging the higher you go. The same way, if you're playing sports, it gets harder to compete the higher you go, right? It's easy to play, elementary and high school and stuff like that. But even like when you had high school, you had different leagues that were more elite people, better people, right? And that was harder, that was tougher. So you got to understand the higher you go, the more it's going to demand of you, the more challenging it's going to become. And so you got to get your mind ready for this. You got to get your mindset ready for this. That's why I love the book Relentless by Tim Grover, because he talks about when he was working with. He was working with Michael Jordan, Kobe, and he would let you know what their mindset was like. What was their mindset? See, it is a mindset. No matter what it is, no matter where you at, none of that. It's all just a mindset. And I want to shed light on the mindset, right? So let's say people that I've worked with before that are making $100,000 a year, $80,000 a year, $50,000 a year, $150 a year, right? Versus those who are making a million or more, right? Some of the main things that come to my mind when I'm just thinking about it, number one is those making like less than like 150, they have the most excuses, right? But anybody I've worked with who's doing over $1 million, they don't have excuses. That's literally, so that you gotta look at like a separation, right? The separation. What is the separation? That right there is a separation. Excuses. So if you're saying, I want to have a 7-figure brand, because that's what everybody wants, right? A 7-figure brand. You gotta understand that you cannot have any excuses. Literally, you can't have any excuses. It's easy to have an excuse when you're doing under 150 or even under 200, and here's why. Because excuses are attached to time for the most part. And here's what I mean. When I work with somebody and they're doing $1 million or more, they don't have the time to have an excuse because every day their business is making money. And so if we have something that we were supposed to do, by them having an excuse, they're losing money, right? But if you're making 100,000 a year, it's easier for you to have an excuse because you don't feel that. You don't feel what somebody making $1 million is feeling. So it's easier for you to have an excuse where when you're doing 7 figures, you can't have an excuse because you have so much that needs to be done. And literally every day is money, from ads to your team, to your paying people, to your payroll. Everything is money. So you can't afford to give yourself excuses when by you making a little bit less or way more less, you're going to have way more excuses. So if you sit here and say, hey, I don't have any excuses from day one, let's say your business is at 0 or 5,000 a year or whatever, right? You give yourself no excuses from day one, from here on out. You will be ready. You will be operating as a 7-figure entrepreneur right now. It's just facts. So don't have excuses no matter where you're at. But if you are, doing 200,000 a year, 150, 300, I want you to assess yourself. I want you to assess your business and ask yourself, do I always have an excuse? Or do I have a problem for every solution? Because a lot of people will be here to give you solutions and you got a problem for every solution, right? That's a really big one, right? Excuses. Cut it out with excuses. No excuses, no more excuses. Fuck all of that. 0 excuses. Because excuses are literally keeping you where you're at. So another thing that I've observed that separates somebody from making 100,000 a year or less, or 150 or less, to somebody doing $1 million or more, is literally they are in it for the long term and they're more patient. They understand long term. They understand things take time. But the person doing 150 or less, they're not patient. They don't understand the long-term vision. They don't understand that things take time. They're in such a rush to make money. But if they just was patient in the beginning, they would make the money and they would get where they want to get to, right? When I remember when I was really, really, really broke, right? Back in the days, I was really broke. It seemed like the first of the month was coming like every week, like literally. I remember at the end of the month, I would pay all my bills for that month. So let's say right now we're in November, right? By November 28th, I would pay all my bills for November. And then December 1st was in a few more days. And then I had to do it all over again, right? But now it's like money allows you to breathe. And it allows you to look at things from an elevated state and allows you to be different. So now the months are actual months. And it doesn't seem like the months are just flying by. They may go faster because we're busy and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's not this energy that it used to be. So money buys you time and it allows you to think and it allows you to be more patient. When you don't have the money, you're in this desperate energy. But here's the key. You have to understand that you need to master that right now. Be patient right now. Even if you need the money, act like you don't need the money. And then the money is going to come. Even if you need the money, act like you don't need the money and the money is going to come. Because money does not like desperation. There's a book I read called The Energy of Money. It's very, very, very powerful. But money does not like desperation. So you gotta operate as such right now. I don't need it. It's coming. Literally, it's on its way. I'm doing what I need to do so that therefore the money is going to be attracted to the business that I'm building, right? And therefore that means that you have to put yourself in a position financially where you can be patient. Because if you only need money, you're going to be a liability to a lot of people that you're going to, encounter, and you're going to be a liability to yourself. Because what's going to happen is money is it's a very finite thing, and it's also a very surface level distraction of what's really real and what's true, right? And here's what I mean about that. If you're building a business and your only focus is just money, then you're going to do things to just get the money. And what that's going to do is it's going to tug at your ethics and your morals. So you got to ask yourself, am I willing to sacrifice certain morals just for money? And if that's you, then, do your thing. But I don't talk to those people. You really want to build a business that's holistic. And you want to be in a position to where you can afford a slow month. You want to be in a position where you don't have to sell your soul just to hit your revenue goals. Because that's what's going to allow you to be at peace and build a business with like longevity and that's sustainable. You don't want to correlate stress with money, right? So those who are making, that I've worked with, right? And that's another thing, because there are people like this that are making millions. So don't get me wrong, but that I've worked with. But one of the biggest things is you way more patient and you understand things because you've allowed time to go by and you've seen more than somebody that's making, less than $100,000, right? So you have a different mindset. Usually. There are people that haven't worked on their mindset and they got the money faster. And that's a whole nother topic, right? You can get money fast and still not be the right person for the money. And over time, you will probably part ways with your money, most likely, right? Or you're just going to be, living life with this money block that you can't see. So most likely you want to get help on that as well. But that's another difference that I've seen from a perspective of, entrepreneurs that are doing 100,000 versus entrepreneurs that are doing $1 million or more. They're way more patient, right? Another one is from a direct to consumer perspective, and even if you have a service-based business, but they are more aware of the data and the importance and the roles that it plays, right? If you're doing 100,000, you're probably just focused on revenue and money, and that's it. But once you get to 1 million, data really becomes important, and you can't even shy away from understanding its role and its importance if you wanted to. Because if you don't give the data the energy and the attention that it needs and is demanding, what's going to happen is you are going to end up having your company go down, or it's going to just like flatline out. And you're not going to be able to actualize your full potential. So you really want to always focus on data. And all these things that I'm telling you, if you're making less than 500,000 a year, just do these things right now. Just do them right now. And when you hit your first milli, you'll already be operating as such. And then you'll be ready for 10, 5 mil and then 10 mil, right? But it's a process. It's literally a process. And it's like building a house. If you skip framing, right, the house, or if you skip laying the concrete, or if you skip actually figuring out, doing a land survey and seeing, is this a good place to build a house on, then something is going to happen down the road that's going to compromise the integrity of that house's foundation. So you got to ask yourself, do I really want to do it like this? Do I want to do it like this? Am I doing it the right way? Is this the right way to go about things? Am I doing things out of step? Everything has a process, a natural process. That's called universal laws, right? So that's another thing that I've learned is, that data, that longevity, that long term. These are things that I've learned from the people that I've worked with. I want to say that, right? This is not a law because everybody's different. But from what I've seen, 7 figures versus 100,000, these are main differences right here. It's them excuses, they're more patient, and they're focusing on the data. Data is very important. You got to have the patience because you may make an investment and that investment may not actualize, or you may not get an ROI for 3 to 6 months. What's an example? For me, my inventory, I have to spend money, invest money on inventory before it comes back, right? Before it even gets here. It takes months. So I have to be patient with that. And I can't give myself any excuses as to why I'm not going to invest money in inventory, right? So these are things right here. It's literally about how you think about things. And the way you think about things is going to dictate how you experience things in the future as you're walking into them. So you want to have the right way of thinking about things, right, as you're going into your business. And another one is because someone making $1 million a year, we're living in a time where like you can make $1 million in a year, but like, how did it happen? If it happens super fast, you're either going to have like some mental health issues, or you're going to have to start backtracking and going back and actually fixing your business, because you're going to have to do what you weren't able to do because the money came so fast. So it really comes down to, do I want to build this thing methodically, or do I want to just go make the money fast and then figure it out on the back end? There's no right or wrong answer, but I know which one I would rather do, right? That's just my perspective and that's just my prerogative. So these are just a few things that I've seen the difference between somebody doing $100,000 a year and somebody doing $1 million or more a year. It's really all a mindset. We all have businesses, right? We all selling products. We're all using similar tools, but at the end of the day, it's how you approach those tools, how you use those tools, and the team that you have around you and how that team interacts with you, right? So that's today's episode, man, episode 53. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the podcast on Apple, iTunes, all that good stuff. But always remember, every single thing you do in life, it starts with a vision. Peace.